Hey guys, so I want to kick the series off with something everyone can do, so I thought we'd look at roaming, and that is probably the easiest way to carry a game. Like after watching this, you'll be able to take this into a game and stand a much better chance of winning it. It's also really easy to do, it doesn't take much skill, you just need to use your brain, so unless you're like Foxtrot where I definitely got all the brains in the family, you'll be all set. Anyway, there are two paths to roaming really. Is it worth the effort? And then the timing side of things. There is a bunch of stuff to think about whether it's going to be worth your time or not, but these are the main ones, and I'm going to sum it up at the end of the video too, so don't worry too much about keeping track of everything. So the first one is, how good is your champion at roaming? Someone like Anivia isn't that good, she's kind of slow, doesn't have a gap closer, and can be run away from pretty easily. Someone like Ari though is great because she has some CC, a huge gap closer, and good damage, so it's hard to escape. So that's what we're looking for really, mobility, crowd control, and damage. Mobility so we can get there quicker in the first place and then they can't escape easily when we do get there. Crowd control so we can keep them in place for our laners to follow up, and damage to actually kill them. Second thing is, how much help are your laners going to be, or how hard are the enemy laners going to be to gank? For our laners, we're again looking at the three cornerstones of a roam: mobility, crowd control, and damage. But seeing as they are already like in that lane, I guess we're mainly interested in the CC and damage parts. So for bot lane, this is normally going to be the CC from the support and the damage from the AD. If you are roaming bot lane, it's things like Leona, Thresh, or Blitzcrank are great because they can help lock down laners for you to kill. Lucian, Graves, or Vayne are also good on the AD side because they provide a lot of damage quite early into the game and follow up with you. Champions like Janna or even Kaylin aren't that great on your team because they don't offer too much when you actually get there. For the enemy laners, we're really looking at what disengage or mobility they have. Champions like Janna or Nami are hard to roam against because they have so many ways to get away. Like both of these have more than 2 spells that are going to be good at disengaging, and it's kind of the same with a Lucian or an Ezreal who have long range anyway and dashes to stay safe. There are ways that you can still catch them, which we're going to look at later, and mainly involving the route you take down to the lane, but it's going to be harder and there's a higher chance that you won't get anything out of it. So that's the basic stuff to figure out if you actually want to roam somewhere or not. You can even do this stuff in the loading screen, that's normally how I do it. Instead of going to the toilet or grabbing a drink or sticking your hands down your pants, just do something useful and think about this stuff. Timing is going to be the other side of things, so you've decided that it is going to be worth your time going down there, and now you want to work out when to do it. The first thing is in your lane. You want to minimize how many minions you lose when you roam. Ideally just a single wave is okay. The perfect time to roam is going to be after the enemy laner has based, and after you push your wave into tower. You lose practically no minions in this case, but that doesn't really happen often. So the ideal that you should really aim for is just push your wave first, walk backwards out of vision, and then roam. The more important part of timing though is really looking at the lane you're roaming to. If they are pushed in, then there isn't really much point unless you can dive, and it's kind of risky in solo queue where communication isn't really, well, there isn't any communication. Really, you want them to be pushing, that's the ideal, so their minion wave is going to be bigger than yours when you start to move, and the perfect time would really be if they are at your tower and poking your laners under the tower. The final key to success when roaming is so simple but so important. You just want to watch the map as you move. If your laner leaves and follows you, then there's a very good chance it's warded. If the lane you're approaching suddenly runs away, then again it's very likely it's warded, and these can be key things to not waste a lot of time. Be careful too if you're actually spotted. It's often not a good idea to carry on because it's a lot easier for them to trap you on the way than it is for your team to help you if you get caught. So now we've got if it's worth it and when you should roam, but we actually have to get you there in the first place without being spotted. I'm going to give you the most common best routes for each lane just to give you a few ideas that you can try out. There are a couple of champion specific ones that are pretty sneaky, like you can jump over Dragon Wall or Baron Wall or different walls, but they're so champion specific that I'm not going to go through them in this video. So let's start with the mid lane, and this first one, this is the risky way. You're going through their jungle and you're more likely to find their jungler and get sandwiched, but it is less likely to be warded, so you can get there unnoticed. It's higher risk, but it is high reward, and it's definitely a good idea if you know where their jungler is. If the jungler is ganking top or he's shown on the top side of the map, then doing this is pretty risk free and it's going to be a better option. Now this is the basic way, low risk but is often warded at some point along the way, so you'll ideally need the bot lane to engage a little bit earlier. If you're heading top instead, then both of these are just reverse, and a good thing to note as well is there's often less wards as you're going up the map, so you kind of less risk I guess of getting spotted. So for top lane you can go the risky way if they are red side, side, especially if they're pushing, or if they're blue side, then you can go like this, or even like this and dive them from behind. The river is a lot less likely to be warded as well, so you don't have to worry as much about that. Timing is a lot less important when you're roaming to the mid lane, as the lane is so short, so just roam and wait for the right time to jump out of the bush. For supports, the best way to roam is actually from your base. Nobody expects it, and it's so much easier to avoid wards too. If you want to do it from your lane, then I'd recommend just running up the river and then trying to flank them at the end by cutting up here or here depending on what side you're on. Now going through their jungle is so risky as you can't really defend yourself if you're found, so I definitely wouldn't recommend doing that. So here's a little graphic that I made that you can print out, have as your desktop, open on your other monitor, or just write down whatever you want to do with it, but at least it gives you something to focus on when you're looking at roaming. So the first thing, is it worth it? How good are you at roaming? Which lane can your laners help? Can the enemy escape? Timing wise, you want to push your lane and then make sure the enemy lane is pushing. When you actually go, watch the minimap and think about your route there. Those are going to be the key things for when you're actually roaming, and I hope you found this video useful. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe if you did enjoy it, and I'll catch you in my next video.